without spending a tremendous amounts of time on bills that we've already heard and worked. Two of the bills, okay, we have 3 bills on the agenda today. 2 of them we've already done. We did them as House bills, and so they came back over from, the Senate versions came back over here. We'll change the dates on them, the enacting date, and then pass them out of here. We'll do we'll have a hearing as such. It'll describing what it is, and then to remind you all. But then SB 32 is new to us. We haven't touched that one before. It doesn't look like it's going to be an earth shaker, but that's the route we're going to take. Now, let me start off by, on the floor, you may have heard one of your favorite members talk about creating shells and how that's bad because they're used for guts and goes. Gut and goes. That's inaccurate almost entirely in that statement. What we create are shells. That's exactly true. Those are vehicles. I can gut and go any bill I want. All right. All I have to do is make an amendment to cut out everything and put in something else. I don't need a vehicle for that. What we're dealing with are in the committee process. As we get towards the end of our days, we'll run into situations where, say, for example, well, our budget's already passed out, but maybe not a different bill, a tax package, for example, is defeated on the floor. Or several times, as was the case just last year. You don't have to have much of a memory for this thing. The tax package died 3, 4, 5 times last year. You can't just start it back up again. That bill, that vehicle is dead. It can't be used anymore. And so what you have to do is take the contents of that and put it in a different vehicle. Yeah, there are details on that. Yeah, I know. There are other rules too, and it gets a little complicated, and Eileen handles it all for me. I don't have to deal with that. But that's the reason for those shells to exist. We're not getting rid of any legislation in order to create those. We're creating vehicles so that we don't have to. And here's the alternative. If we don't, and I've been here for that too. If we don't have a shell, that means that we start back up the committee process, even if we're doing stupid committee meetings at 2 in the morning to pass out something and then shove the contents of a bill into it. Or we do a special session with that. We've been in that one too. But the way it would work in practice during the session would be exactly that. You'll hear someone announce at the well, appropriations is meeting in a room whatever at 2 a.m. And so then appropriations would meet, we'd be in foul moods, horrible work would be done, and we'd come out with something. And then we'd shove the contents of whatever just died, modify it, try to fix it, try to tweak it into something that would pass, and then bring it back to the floor after you guys had been sitting around for probably 6, 8 hours while the thing is drafted as a bill. That's the way that works. That's what we try to avoid in, well, there are a couple of committees. Transportation also creates some shells, but that's what we try to avoid happening, and that's why we do this. So if it seems silly that, oh, we're doing the same thing over and over, you're right, but there will be a day when you'll go, thank God we did exactly that, because otherwise we're sitting on the floor twiddling our thumbs while we play out the committee process over and over again. So in case you get that from your caucus, you get some questions on that, understand, no, there are no gut and goes being done here. That's not what we do. We just try to keep the committee process moving as smoothly as possible and be a little bit more respectful of members' time. That being said, we're going to waste some time by doing some bills over that we just did. Here we go. Yes, Eileen. No, you're Eileen. Yes, Cindy, sorry. Representative Neighbor. Yeah, that's it.
Before we get started on the bills, I would like to move approval of the minutes for February 10th, February 14th, and February 17th. If we put them at the end, our wonderful committee secretary might dispose of us, and she does such a fantastic job. So with that, I move approval of those sets of minutes.
Once again, Representative Neighbor has my back. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Miller. All discussion on the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. Very good. Minutes are approved all the way through February 17. The book is almost done. Okay. Now, as far as SB 20 is concerned, I'll open a hearing such as it is for SB 20. Eileen, can you remind us what SB 20 is all about? I'm going to hear it, work it, all the way through. You betcha. There will be an amendment. This will be a date change. I mentioned that we'll do that so that we can take them into conference and combine these things, with the remainder being empty vessels. Yeah, I gave my speech. You missed some. I wasn't going to point that out. I was going to defend it. I wouldn't do it for you. I wouldn't. Eileen, take it away.
She still has your back, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Senate Bill 20 is the bill that would reduce the number of board members appointed by the commissioner. It is the Senate version of our House Bill 2045. The bill would grant the commissioner the ability to decrease the number of board members serving on boards for which the commissioner has appointing authority. As you recall, committee members serving on the board as of July 1st of this year would have their terms end on December 31st of the year. The commissioner, in the meantime, would appoint a new board whose new 3-year terms would begin on January 1st of 26. The board would have the same powers, duties, and functions as the old board, but as you recall, this board would be removable for inefficiency, neglect of duty, or malfeasance. And the bill also removes the requirement for the Committee on Surety Bonds and Insurance to meet once per month and moves it to on the call of the chair. The the Senate Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance passed the bill out of committee with no amendments, and the Senate Committee of the Whole passed it unanimously on February 19th, and I can stand for questions.
Well, if it's unanimous in the Senate, that sounds like a bad bill.
Something's wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. No, and what was the mirror of this one? Do you recall right offhand?
2045.
2045? Okay.
It's in the top line of the brief, Mr. Chair. But
Oh, the reviser's brief. Okay, here we go. Well, I didn't have that in front of me, but thank you very much. I was still reading.
Someone else would have
Lovely
asked.
amendment. Representative Bergquist.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Mr. Chair.
How is this going around? What's going on? I have noticed this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The question is, the lines that are crossed out, is that something the Senate did, or is that?
no, that's all original to the bill. There were no amendments to this bill.
Okay, very good. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Chair.
Very good. Yes, Representative Neighbor.
Mr. Chair, I have no questions.
Okay. Do we have any further questions for Eileen? Seeing none. Excellent. Thank you, Eileen. Now, committee, you'll see an amendment that was passed out. When you look at, you'll look at the back page. This is a date change rather than publication in the statute book. We have changed it to publication in the Kansas Register. We'll decide which way we go on that. It'll probably be publication in the statute book when we're all said and done, but we take it to conference and hammer out that difference between the two versions of the Senate bill. So that's the reason for that amendment. I'd entertain a motion to add the amendment to SB, whatever we're doing, 20. Representative Neighbor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move that we amend this bill by changing the date of publication from the statute book to the Kansas Register.
All right, is there a second? Second by Representative Chauncey. All right, discussion on the amendment. Yes, Representative Haskins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And just for the good of the order, tell us the difference again, what the significance of the Kansas Register compared, understand what the statute book, but the significance of the Kansas Register is.
The Kansas Register comes out faster. It'll usually be, is it 30 days after? Oh, it comes out twice a month. There you go. Further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Very good. Back on Senate Bill 20. Representative Neighbor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Since it appears that we did all the work for the Senate and they liked it.
They did.
They did unanimously. I move that we pass out Senate Bill 20 as amended.
Second by Representative James. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, say nay. Very good. Senate Bill 20 is passed out as amended. SB 24. Eileen, can you get us up to speed on SB 24? And I have a suspicion that there might be an amendment. Thank you. I bet it might be. Unless they did the register, in which case it's a statute book. Oh, it won't stay there, don't worry. Yeah. Are you on transportation? It gets that way.
And this was,
That's the problem. It has the same title, it has the same creator, but it might say something. 2050. Thank
yes.
you. Am I actually going to have to gavel? Am I going to gavel Chairman Proctor? Is that? All right. I don't know what sort of hijinks are going on over here at the end of the room, but Eileen, can you remind us of SB 24 and its mirror 2050 from the House?
Very nicely done, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Senate Bill 24 authorizes the commissioner to set the amount of certain fees and requires the publication of those fees in the Kansas Register. As we recall, the bill, each of the affected statutes in the bill specifies a flat fee that's charged for the purpose in the statute. Senate Bill 24 changes the amounts of those flat fees and makes them the maximum amount that can be charged or the ceiling, and that can be charged by the department for each fee's statutory purpose. The bill grants the commissioner the authority to set the amount of fee up to that ceiling amount. by December 1st of the year, and then she needs to publish the amount of those fees for the upcoming year in the Kansas Register, again, by December 1st. And again, FI&I had no committee amendments, and the bill again passed unanimously on February 19th. And I can stand for questions.
Excellent. So, and just to clarify, this gives the Commissioner of Insurance the ability to reduce fees, but not to raise them above the statutory limit.
Absolutely, very well put, Mr. Chair.
Thank you so much.
That must be why they pay you the big bucks.
The big buck. Yeah, that's the one. All right. All right. Committee, Representative Neighbor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I
Oh, wait,
think we
I'm
have-
sorry. Did we have any questions for Eileen? I'm sorry.
I thought we did that.
Representative Wagner. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I do want to clarify that point because it does state the fees, but if it's the maximum of like $500 for the first one, if they're currently only charging $300, they could raise it to $400. Or is there something specified that says it can only go down?
No, it's not specified that it can only go down, but the current amount of the fee is the ceiling.
That's what they're currently charging? Okay,
Amount in the fee is the ceiling.
okay, got it.
All right. Any further questions? Yeah, well, in statute, we set the fee, the way it currently reads. We set the fee. This is the fee that's charged. A lot of fee-based agencies have up-tos already in there, and I know what you're referring to. No, we set the fees statutorily. All we're saying here is that this is only up to that amount so that the commissioner can reduce those fees. Yep. Good catch there. All right. I think that's it. Thank you, Eileen. Representative Neighbor, did you have a motion?
Yes, I do. And I will say that the insurance department has done an extremely good job of reducing fees and being very, very frugal and helping out their agents. And with that, as I was looking through this bill, it came to my attention that it says statute book, and I would like to change that to amendment for the Kansas Register.
Lovely idea, and I'm glad that you had the foresight to have the amendment already drafted. That's fantastic. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Chauncey. Discussion on the date change. Seeing none, all those in favor? Representative Williams.
Yes. Oh, I'm just wondering, Mr. Chair, what kind of fiscal notes we're going to pile on with all these date changes?
I anticipate zero.
You think?
I think these will be
it's a
hammered
little
out. I think these will be hammered out in conference.
I'm just teasing you.
All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Very good. We're back on SB 24. I'd entertain a motion. Representative Neighbor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would move that we pass out favorably Senate Bill number 24 as amended.
Right, do I have a second? Representative Bergkamp jumps into the mix. Here we go. I'm trying to keep you guys as far apart as I can. So. All right. Discussion on SB 24. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Very good. SB 24 is passed out as amended. Now, committee, SB 32 is new. We are going to find out a little bit more about this one. But the practice that we just did, okay, watch your agenda for Monday because we're going to have 7 bills. Every one of them, unless I miss something, every one of them is going to be exactly the same thing that we've done right here. So, spoiler alert, I know, so, get excited about Monday's meeting. I just want you to make sure. Valid, that is valid. But, but I just want you all to be prepared because we're going to go through that same practice 7 times. This one? SB 32? Okay. You have it? I think we should. But, okay, I'll open a hearing on SB 32. So Eileen, can you give us a little description of SB 32?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Senate Bill 32 would reduce the insurance company premium tax from 2% to 1.98% and would also discontinue the remittance of 1% of taxes received to the Insurance Department Service Regulation Fund. Section 1 of the bill amends KSA 40-112 pertaining to the Insurance Department Service Regulation Fund. The amendment appears in subsection B and strikes the requirement that 1% of taxes received pursuant to KSA 40-252 be transferred to the treasurer and ultimately be certified and credited to the Insurance Department Service Regulation Fund. Section 2 of the bill amends KSA 40-252 pertaining to taxes and fees paid by insurance companies and fraternal benefit societies. Under current law, these entities pay a 2% tax of the total of all premiums, subscription charges, and or other charges, and the bill would essentially lower that tax rate on the entities by 1%, decreasing the tax rate from 2% to 1.98%. So it's decreasing 1% of 2%, making it 1.98%. I can math. I just choose not to. The bill would add language to. It wasn't that funny.
Let's listen to Eileen. This will be cleared up in no
The bill would also add language to KSA 40-252 requiring that all reports and returns required by Senate Bill 32 and rules and regulations adopted pursuant thereto shall be preserved for 3 years and thereafter until the commissioner orders those destroyed. We cleaned up some language in there to fix grammatical issues, and the Senate Committee on Financial Institutions and Insurance passed the bill out of committee with no amendments. I believe we placed it on the consent calendar, and it did pass unanimously in the Senate Committee of the Whole on February 11th, and I can stand for questions.
All right. Well, obviously, when we talk about such a huge shift as 2 down to 1.98, what kind of a dollar figure are we talking about on that? Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Let's get to, on page 9, I see a lot of crossed out tax years. Is that just cleaning up ancient history?
Let me double check before I answer, Mr. Chair. Yes, so basically when we clean up a statute, we remove obsolete language. So that's why you oftentimes see a bunch of strikeout language. And that's what this is.
Okay.
Exactly, Mr. Chair.
All right, very good. All right, committee, further questions for Eileen? Yes, Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so can you tell us how long it had been set at the 2%?
I can look it up for you when I get back to my seat, or I'm sure the department knows it right off the top of.
Okay. and
Oh,
then-
I think I need to look it up when I get it back to my seat. I'll
Okay,
be
no
happy to do
worries.
that.
And then my other question, I'll go ahead and ask it, and then it'll probably be answered later. But really is, what is that fund balance for the Service Regulation Fund? And so I don't recall from appropriations, but I bet it's big. All right.
Yeah, definitely not my purview on that side.
No, nope, certainly not. All right, no other questions for Eileen?
Yes.
Representative Wagner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to clarify this. The number strikes me as odd. If reducing this 1% will save $1.77 million, that means this fund takes in $177 million every year? I mean,
Again,
is that big of a
would
fund?
not be my question, Representative. That would be,
Let's get the agency up here, we'll talk about that.
Okay.
Valid stuff.
I stretched my math, just telling you that little bit. And there's a reason why I'm a lawyer
1%.
and not, something STEM related.
All right, if there are no further questions for Eileen, thank you very much. Might call on you for an amendment here in just a little bit, but otherwise, we'll be good to go. The first proponent that I have, the only proponent that I have, is Eric Turek, the Director of Government Affairs from the Kansas Insurance Department currently.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Eric Turek with the Kansas Department of Insurance. It's presented both ways in the statute, Mr. Chairman. And I will address the good representative's questions, both from Augusta and from Hutchinson. And so we appreciate the opportunity to provide proponent testimony on Senate Bill 32. It's a very simple bill. It lowers the premium tax rate in Kansas from 2.0% to 1.98. Currently, the SGF is the recipient of the entirety of the premium tax rate except 1% of everything collected. And so of the 2%, 1% of everything collected is kept or retained by the department. So the difference there is 0.02%. And so we plan to, or the bill proposes to reduce the 2% to 1.98. So, and we would eliminate what we keep. The SGF receipts would be unchanged. It's just that the overall percentage would be reduced. And so the $177 million goes directly to the SGF. That would remain unchanged. And to address the representative from Augusta's question, in terms of our ending balance, I think last time I checked, it's $72 million, something of that nature. The commissioner has made a concerted effort, for those who've been on the committee or in the General Government Budget Committee or the Appropriations Committee, you may know that the commissioner has made a concerted effort to lower our ending balance. Due to a variety of factors, our balance has continued to increase. And a couple examples this year specifically that we have proposed to reduce that balance. The bill that you just heard from the reviser, Senate Bill 24, that bill alone will reduce our receipts by $6 million each year. And that ultimately, that's the base with the elimination of the appointment renewal fee. And that's the base. That doesn't even count the discretionary up to flexibility that will be afforded to the department with that bill. Secondly, our receipts will go down by $1.77 million each year after this bill passes, or should this bill pass. And thirdly, the real-time verification bill that I know that this committee passed, and I think passed the House 121 to 1 last week, whatever cost that is associated with setting up that system, the department will be paying for that, and that will ultimately reduce our ending balance too. So we are making a concerted effort to reduce that. Just want to make sure that the committee is aware of that. Happy to answer any questions about about Senate Bill 32 or any other fiscal questions.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, I just want to follow the math a little bit. You know, you said that 72 million in the balance. How much annually do you usually accrue in renewal fees? Or any other type?
So I'll speak to just the renewal aspect. So so there's license fees, right? So I don't have the exact figure of what we receive every year from the licensing fees. I do know that we have reduced those by roughly half, provided that the legislature, including yourself, including every single member on this committee except for the freshmen, there was a first form of the up to bill. It was House Bill 2090, passed in 2023. And so during the calendar year period of 2024, we cut those fees in half. We've reduced our revenues by $1 million. I'll still get you the total receipts that we get each year on the licensing fees. From Senate Bill 24, moving forward, we would reduce our revenues by $6 million just from the producer appointment renewal fee. The initial appointment fee would still exist, and I think that gets us roughly $1 million, maybe $1.5 million each year. So there's the licensing fees, and I'm just talking about agents here, not even talking about companies or anything like that. Just for the agents, there's the appointment fee and the licensing fee. But I'll make sure that we get you both of those. And a breakdown of our receipts.
Okay, so initially, we have the 72 million, and 7.77 million will be gone the first year. But after that, you think it could be 3 to 3.5 million reduction every year in this fund? Well, I guess it wouldn't necessarily net a reduction because you're still bringing in licensees fees. So I guess there's really no way to know, but maybe in 10 years, we have to look at it again, is what we're thinking.
I generally make it an excellent practice to keep an eye on fee funds, always.
Okay, well, it would be great if perhaps they provide that information to you so we could see the accounting of what they were thinking when they were structuring this, so they could see how much is coming in, how much they're reducing, and then like a 10-year kind of look at it, so we could at least sell this beautiful bill.
Heck yeah, I'm good with that. In fact, not just to me, but to the committee, that'd be fantastic. If you could get some sort of a projection as to how the fee fund balance will be affected over, some, into the out years. That would be cool. All right, further questions yes, Representative Tarwater.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So with access kind of drying up and insurance companies pulling out of the marketplace, excess and surplus lines is becoming increasingly popular, non-admitted companies in the state of Kansas. Is that something that you're also looking at, lowering the premium taxes for that?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I off the top of my head, I can't recall the legislation, the bill number from last year. This committee did pass, and the legislature passed, a bill to reduce the surplus lines premium tax from 6% to 3%. The industry introduced that last year, and those proceeds go to the SGF. And so we did not weigh in on that bill for that reason, because that doesn't affect our fund. We are weighing in on this portion, or this bill specifically, because that 0.02%, we keep that currently. So I think it would be the will of the committee to decide if you all would want to reduce that surplus lines premium tax.
Okay, thanks for explaining.
All right, committee, further questions? This is the only proponent. This is your chance. Yeah, yes, Eileen. Revise it. Yes, Eileen, you have a question?
No, I don't have a question. I just wanted to make a point of clarification for the representative's question about the 2%.
Oh, very good. Yeah.
That changed in 1997 from 1% to 2%.
Okay, so relatively recently. All right, any further questions for Eric? Seeing none. Okay, very good. Thank you, Eric. I have no one listed else as a proponent. If anyone would like to speak as a proponent, now's your time. Seeing none, close proponent testimony, open neutral testimony. I have no one listed. Anyone care to speak as a neutral testifier? Seeing none, close neutral, open opponent. I have no opponents listed. Anyone? Seeing none? All right, then we'll close opponent testimony, close the hearing on SB 32. Committee, this is not an earth-shattering bill. Normally, I have the practice of giving you a day or two to think about a bill because sometimes there are moving parts that you'll want to consider. I don't see that this time. So other than perhaps the enacting date, I don't see a reason not to go ahead and take action on SB 32 unless I have an objection from the body. Representative Neighbor.
There is.
Eileen is the rock star.
All right, we have another rock star in here. And, Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment.
You have an amendment, very good. Fortunately, you had the foresight to have that one written out. Oh, yeah.
We're connected, we're sisters. Yeah. See, we both have short hair and, yeah.
I've done conceptual amendments before, and
Not a good thing. It makes her angry.
All right, Representative Neighbor, would you care to explain your amendment?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. After the great job that Eileen did, thank you, on this and being prepared with the amendment and looking at the publication for the statute book to make it across the board in what I've amended already, I'd like to move this to the Kansas Register.
Okay, you've heard the amendment. Do I have a second? Second by Representative Haskins, hiding his mouth as if to be like a ventriloquist. All right. Is there discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say nay. All right. Now entertain a motion on SB 32 as amended. Yes, Representative Neighbor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This has been a lovely discussion, very in-depth, lots of comments. Good comments, a lot of laughter. I would move that we pass Senate Bill 32 out as amended favorably for passage.
All right, do I have a second? Second by Representative Williams. Quick on the draw. All right, discussion on SB 32. Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, say nay. The ayes appear to have it, the ayes do have it. Very good. SB 32 has passed out as amended. Now, that's all we have scheduled for today. We still have 7 bills in committee. I plan on disposing those on Monday.
Would you get the amendments already?
Sure.
Yeah, I actually have most of them.
Okay.
She's got over half of them right now.
I'm just giving her help.
Right.
Let's just chunk those suckers out right now.
No, we haven't seen them.
No, you have to notice.
Yeah, we have to have notice on it. So that's the only reason. But yeah, no, we'll get those 7 teed up for Monday and chew through those. I believe that'll be, unless something surprises me and gets thrown into committee that we want to work, I think we're wrapping up the heavy lifting certainly of this committee. And you'll get your afternoons back just in time for the weather to get a little bit nicer. So until Monday, we are adjourned.